Here we are with our final beach memory of the year with Paul MacDonell as we look at the 2008 Breeders' Crown Final at the Meadowlands. Paul, you get 2 weeks rest heading into the Breeders' Crown, a race that was touted as Somebeachsomewhere's final career start. When did the discussion start about keeping him going for the matron?
From what I remember, it was right in the winner's circle pretty much of the Breeders' Crown Final. I can remember Brent being very ecstatic about how he raced, and in which he was. He raced tremendous. And, you know, there was some money left on the table with the matron, and we thought, well, if he comes out of this fine, why not?
And he hadn't raced at the Meadowlands since the Meadowlands pace. How were you personally handling that race going into it? I was driving Somebeachsomewhere. I just had confidence. I mean, the horse was, he bounced out of the Meadowlands pace like a good horse should. And, he went through the fall season with as strong as he could be. And when we hit the Meadowlands in late November, he trained up great. And for me, myself, I just had confidence. What was the atmosphere like at the Meadowlands that night for a night that featured so many stars on a Breeders' Crown card, in addition to the final start for the pacer of the year at that point?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of excitement. I remember the people were getting excited. Quite a few people came in, family, friends came in to see his last race. I think fairly good crowd on hand. The hype was there, and so I think there was quite a bit of hype, and of course the beach lived up to the hype.
In the race, you got to lead and had things pretty much your own way, but you had your biggest threat, Shadow Play, right on your helmet. When Dave Miller tipped him off your back, how confident were you in the stretch that you could hold him off?
Yeah, I was very confident. I hadn't even asked him to pace when Dave tipped him off my helmet, and I waited a little bit, and then halfway down the lane I asked him to pace, and he was gone. So he came to the wire as strong as he was in any of his races, and here we are in late November, and he did that. So it just proved what a champion he was.
Like you say, the Breeders' Crown was late November, almost December that year, and it's noteworthy that on that card he was the only 3-year-old favorite to win a Breeders' Crown event. It's a testament, obviously, to his conditioning and the athleticism that he was able to stay at the top all season long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were dealing with a special animal here. He had all the athleticism, as you said. He was well managed, and it all paid off that particular night.
And now I say athleticism, and you say athleticism as well, as the year ended with a lot of discussion over Somebeachsomewhere being snubbed in the Canadian year-end athlete voting. And yet here we are 10 years later, and Somebeachsomewhere was recently inducted as an athlete into the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame. Do you think the voters got it wrong 10 years ago by ruling that Somebeachsomewhere did not qualify as an athlete?
I think they did. Looking back, I think they did. I think we were probably at a time in 2008 where, why would someone put forth a horse? And years later, looking back, I don't think it's as big as a stretch as it was back then. So, unhorse racing people had to look at it and deal with it, and they made the wrong choice, in my opinion.
As we conclude this series of videos, if you can, try and sum up the impact that this tremendous horse had on your life in those 21 starts that essentially just span over a year and a half.
Well, it's been unreal. To this day, there's not many weeks go by where someone doesn't come along and ask me to sign a poster of him, a picture of him, a program that he was in, something of that nature. And it's really, 10 years later, it's just amazing. So what he has done for us, I mean, it's just been incredible. I know he's touched more than my life. It's the owners, and he's the main topic of top horses of all time, and I'm just glad he's part of that conversation.
Thinking about that, if Paul MacDonell has been asked to choose the horses for Harness Racing's Mount Rushmore, where we would feature the sports
all-time best 4 horses. You and many others would have Some Beach Somewhere on that list. Who would be your other 3?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, at Beach for sure. I would have to go with Niatros. He was just such a great athlete himself. I would have to go with Camfella, being a tough horse. And the fourth one, I would say, would be Muscle Hill. He has just been unreal as a racehorse and unreal as a sire, and he'd be right up there on Mount Rushmore.
Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure to relive these amazing races with you. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.